Today I will give you the interpretation of seeing a sick father in a dream. Or you see your sick father in a dream. Now the father was dead, and I saw that he was sick, which meant that the deceased had not paid his debts. The unmarried girl then saw her deceased father suffering from a headache, thus delaying his marriage. The sight of the deceased's father suffering from neck pain suggests that he was squandering his money on useless things. According to Siren's interpretation, if the father is alive and the dreamer sees him sick in his vision, it is an indication that the dreamer has failed to achieve some of his goals, but with continued effort will succeed in achieving only a small part of them. Seeing a sick father who is actually sick may also be a subconscious influence, often confusing reality with dreams. But the repetition of the vision more than once heralded the father's recovery from his illness. Nablus considers the interpretation of a dream of a living father's illness to indicate the anxiety and fear of the seer. Now that the father is dead, it is an indication that the father has gone through a financial hardship because of the haste and has to be patient to overcome it. But seeing the sick father actually sick in the dream also suggested to Nablus that it might be a sign of his imminent recovery. The interpretation of Ibn Qusayr that if the father had been alive and seeing him ill would have led to him carrying some of the sorrows and anxieties of the rabbi. Now that he was dead, evidence of his need for charity and forgiveness and the prompt repayment of his debts, if any. Ibn Shahin's interpretation that since the father is the heir, the narrator's witnessing his father's illness is evidence of the narrator's suffering from material distress. But his father will get him out of it by God's grace. To see a single girl's father fall seriously ill in a dream may be an indication of some difficulties she is facing in her life. And if the sick father slept in his own bed, it signified the father's love for the girl and his need for her health care. But her vision of her father's immobility points to her suffering some material crises, which she passes off as beneficial to God. When she sees her father sick in a dream and cries over him, or he cries as a result of his illness, it is a message from God that he is nearby and he will be cured of his illness. But the wife now saw her father ill and losing the ability to move. It is a proof of her suffering from a marital problem with her life, and her crying over him means the nearness of his recovery by Allah. If a married woman sees her father in a dream and he is sick and there is no one near him, it is a sign that he needs her help and he should be checked out quickly. Now she saw her sick father-in-law crying, a sign of her insecurity in her husband's house. Now that she was pregnant and had seen her father ill, it is an indication that she suffered from some of the complications of pregnancy. It may continue for some time after birth. And if her sick father was crying in the dream very much, it is a sign that the date of her birth is near and that it will go well in God's will. A man's interpretation of his father's illness is summarized in several cases. The first is improving living conditions or paying off debts of one's own. He had some anxiety and health problems in his life. The visionary needed advice from his father. The narrator has failed to achieve some of his goals. He suffered from some marital problems. The parent has done something wrong or hurt the parent in their life. Each interpretation applies to the person's situation. Some explanations may be applicable to you and others may not. Interpretation of the vision of a sick father in absolute sleep. Now, her living father was referring to her suffering some of the hardships she faced in life. She has to be patient.
Do not despair.
Her father had, in fact, died. It is a proof that she bears the burden and has to rest and leave the matter to Allah. Now divorced, her sick father cries in a dream from the severity of the illness, indicating that she is experiencing financial hardship but is doing well. Because crying in a dream indicates a vagina. When she saw her sick father, who could not move, it meant that her father might get sick and she would take care of him.
God knows best.
This concludes our episode, and we will see you in a new interpretation. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to support us. You always get what's new for us.